the Provincial Department of Treasury partnering with the Office of the Premier and also the Provincial Department of Economic, Small Business Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs will be hosting their 4th annual Research Colloqium. Now, what this is based on is their past reports and research of their themes and sub-themes. Now, we are at the Central University of Technology where this 2-day event will be held, and it is day 1 of the event.
The 4th Provincial Research Colloqium convened under the theme Good Governance Practices with special focus on ICT, service delivery and youth empowerment. On good governance principles. Good governance that is responsible and responsive is a product of an 8 good governance principles, which are as follows: accountable, transparency, responsive, effective, efficient, equitable and inclusive, rule of law, participatory and consensus orientated.
I'd like to say that this colloquium is high on the agenda of our Provincial Treasury calendar. And we do want to build a capable state, a capable developmental state. And based on that, our economic system is not communist nor socialist. We're looking at, and we are capitalists in nature, but we want to develop a national democratic society, national democratic state, which means it's a mix of all of that. So you'll find that as we develop policies, ultimately from a capitalist perspective, we need to integrate how do we bring and defeat triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, inequality. And with the system that we have that has largely been led by historic evidence in the past, a system to diversify an economic system that way, it requires that structures of the economy and sectors of the economy has to change.
And privileged to be here to share with you. And I'm very impressed and inspired by what the MEC, Mrs. Brown, said. I felt leadership. I felt patriotism. I felt the willingness to be different, to do differently, and to impact in this province. And I heard from the whip that South Africans, and I can confirm that because I've been here for 8 years, I'm one of yours, that you are good and you are growing in being too good in criticizing yourself, undermining yourself, complaining about yourself, as if tomorrow is the end of the world. I want to reassure you that this country is beautiful. This country is gorgeous. This country has got more than what it needs. But this country and the people of this country, especially those in leadership, need to do more, differently and rapidly to correct your 3 problems: inequality, unemployment, and poverty in a sea of wealth.
The purpose of today will be to reflect on leadership, but I would like each one of you to think about your own leadership style today. All of us sitting here are from different generations. Somewhere in your life you act as a leader, whether it's as a parent or at work. So let's focus at our work environment and the whole issue of public service leaders or public sector leaders.
The main purpose is to focus on the research work that we as a department, Treasury and the universities are doing in the economic development space. And we think the work that has been produced by researchers will inform and guide our plans as government to be able to be responsive but also to implement plans that are evidence-based, that are backed up by solid research. And I think we will strengthen our working relations with all the partners going forward to make sure that that which we do is informed by facts. And where we need assistance, where we need interventions during the implementation of some of these interventions, we are supported by our institutions of higher learning.
For progressive governance, we need these types of research colloquiums. Now it's time for the Breakaway Sessions.
We are having two parallel sessions. The first one is focusing on inclusive economy, and then the second one is focusing on good governance. Basically, what is happening in each and every session is that we have a facilitator who will then deal with a particular subject like inclusive economy. Now, we have received presentations, and then out of that, we will be engaging on the presentation. After engaging on the presentations, we will then have some findings as well as the recommendations and implementation plans going forward.
Wow, what an impactful session it was. Key priorities were discussed. Now this is just to move our government forward and also to have it really on par for this fourth industrial revolution. We'll see you tomorrow for the day 2 of this colloquium. Well, the objective is to mainstream evidence-based policymaking in the province while inculcating research in the public service. It is day 2 of the colloquium.
The first topic for today is on education and skills development. When it comes to education, we know that everybody has a say because we all have been through schooling, and our children are in school, or somebody's in school and so forth. So opinion ranges from the best to the worst in terms of our experiences and our expectations of what the education system should be. But by and large in South Africa, there's a general view that our education system is not doing as well as it should. From grade R to PhD, as well as to postdoctoral qualifications.
Education needs to be a societal responsibility. You can ask any parent whose child has done well. They will tell you that I have supported my children. But you also need to support those who are not our own children. There is nowhere in the world you can actually talk about China. You can talk about, I've been to those countries. I know what the old people in China, what they do to support their own children in grade 0 and grade 3 to 4 years. The old people sit with those children, they teach them. They teach them karate, they teach them discipline, they teach them to write, they teach them folk songs and so on. So education, you can't blame it in just one department. It won't succeed. Let us all be committed and change education. The future is brighter if we can do that. Thank you very much.
Skills development. We know there's a huge deficit in the country about skills, especially in terms of matching them with the requirements in industry, in the workplace. A lot of new entrants into the job market do not really make the grade in terms of what the job market requires. There's always a mismatch between skills provided and the job requirements. So much that companies end up spending a lot of money in terms of training in-house, training of new employees. And sometimes there are issues of soft skills and hard skills. soft skills got to do with culture, job readiness, and so forth. So it's really a battle, and we're trying a lot of other things such as internships and so forth. But again, people who are desperate move from one internship into another internship and so forth, revolve around, and do not really have special set skills that are fit for purpose in terms of what is that required.
Our unemployment and poverty in this country is linked to the mismatch of the skills that are offered in the marketplace and the demand for those skills. This is what economists will call structural unemployment. And the development program that was initiated by National Treasury in 2007, ending up in some reports which were produced by Harvard academics in 2008, actually emphasized on this point that there is a lot of mismatch in terms of the. But the key issue that actually came out there is that if you don't have sufficient skills in the economy, you cannot be able to absorb the low skills.
In this second part of our presentation, we're going to hear a lot more about the digital AI, artificial intelligence, that leads to robotics. We're going to hear about Internet of Things, and we know now the world is moving at the speed of light. They no longer talk about Internet of Things, they're talking about the Internet of Everything.
I want to thank the organizers of this Research Colloqium for inviting me to speak on a very controversial topic. Controversial in the sense everybody is worried. The fear of the unknown. The better we understand the fourth industrial revolution, the better we'll be able to appreciate the possibilities, the opportunities that is going to offer to change our lives as people.
I'll briefly talk about the industrial revolutions and its influence on public sector capacity building, and not to waste too much time because I know time is limited. We've, as human beings, went through three major revolutions: the cognitive revolution, the agricultural revolution, as well as the scientific revolutions that started about 500 years ago. As human beings, like no other form of life, we can connect around certain ideas that are not physical. For example, religion, capitalism, politics, the social contract, which is about the creation of the state. We have seen profound changes in technology, and we have seen that these changes in technology have really changed the world in which we live.
First and foremost, we don't have a system. Our systems to acknowledge, institute and implement what it is that everyone has said here today. There is no system. We're doing it in pockets and pieces. And that pockets and pieces is creating a lot of cost with very little integration and very little outcomes. So I would like that the theme of today really is research-based initiatives for policy decision-making. And for me, having sat in this environment, I looked at the ecosystem in the fourth industrial revolution. To be honest, government might be the biggest market for technology and innovation in this province. Number one. Secondly, I think that having said that, the opportunities for revenue enhancement and improving our fiscus as government of the Free State, we should also look at the opportunities that there are in various sectors to enhance that.
The colloquium sparked interactions, and from my side right here, it is from the public protector side. We just want word from the public protector side. What is their take regarding the colloquium itself? And actually, it was mostly centered, actually, they spoke more about the fourth industrial revolution. And what's your take on it? Is it going to take jobs from people? Do you think actually it's all about that? People are scared. I mean, you want to be replaced by technology, especially from the NPA.
No, I don't believe that jobs will be taken away. There will be jobs that will be lost, but new ones will be created. And what came out in this colloquium is that people have to be trained and retrained. Mm-hmm. So education is very important, and it's very good that the universities are involved here so that they can do the proper research, develop the proper methodology, so that the universities of the future train people for the fourth industrial revolution, but also train people for the students that Africa needs.
What a powerful and info-packed session it was. Yes, this research colloquium also discussed topics like fourth industrial revolution. Now we all know that that is all about technology, and also how to bring it to the communities, to the learners, because now we're living in a much more technologically inclined generation. And also the gender-based equity was also discussed. We hope that this will be implemented in our government and also in our private sectors for the betterment of our country. Well, my name is Tata Davids and I'm reporting for Hlasela TV. This is brought to you by Bombay Nero Investments in conjunction with the Free State Provincial Government.